I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to tell you about all the reading that I did in August. I read 23 books in August, but before we dive into all the great reading that I did, I'm going to reach back here to our Booktuber Shoutout book, and we're going to shout out somebody randomly. Today's shout out goes to Emily Kate. I will leave a link to their channel in the description. Be sure to go over and subscribe to them. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you had a great reading month in August, like I did. And be sure to follow me over on Instagram and Storygraph and that X that is Twitter and Goodreads and all the social media places. Out of the 23 books that I read, 3 of those were graphic novels, 3 were children's books. I read 11 picture books, 1 middle grade mystery, 1 middle grade fantasy, 1 just regular fantasy, 1 historical fiction, and 2 nonfiction. So first I'm going to dive into the ones that were books that I just already owned, and then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you about the ones that I read, which were ARCs and review copies from publishers. I reread The Wind in the Willows. I actually listened to this as a read me to sleep audiobook. So I would listen to like little 15-minute increments of it every night and fall asleep and then go back to the place where I last remembered and then listen to the rest of it from wherever I fell asleep. I just adore this book. It is one of my favorite classics to read and reread. There is something so enchanting about mole and rat and toad and badger. Every time I reread it, I'm just swept away into the imaginative world of the river. I mean, there's a reason that I own 3 different editions of this book. It's really one of my favorites, and listening to it as an audiobook was just so calming, especially because I already know the story so well. I was able to just relax and fall asleep to a lovely story. Wind in the Willows always gets 5 stars from me. One of my goals this year has been to read either a Tolkien or a C.S. Lewis related book every month, and in August, that book was C.S. Lewis, A Life Inspired. This biography follows the life of C.S. Lewis from his childhood all the way up through his death. It focuses on how his experiences in life led to his spiritual conversion and his belief in God. This is a short biography, but it serves as a really good introduction to the life of C.S. Lewis. However, because I've already read several biographies of Lewis, as well as most of his works and his letters, I just didn't really learn anything new or get any new perspective. I did like that the overall focus of the book is Lewis's faith in God. The writing style is good. It keeps your interest. It's obviously very well researched and well written. If you didn't know anything about C.S. Lewis, I feel like this would be a good place to start, but because I have already read so much about C.S. Lewis, it was kind of just meh for me. I did give it 4 stars though. I read a couple of graphic novels that a friend lent to me. I read Josee, the Tiger and the Fish. Suneo dreams about studying the ocean in Mexico, and he works all the time so he can save up enough money to go and study tropical fish. So he takes a part-time job to help Josee, a girl in a wheelchair. However, he finds the job more difficult than he imagined because Josee is really grumpy and she's just mean. But he tries to be patient with her and compassionate, and when they discover their shared love for the beauties of the ocean, then they begin to connect. This was such a sweet and wonderful story. I really loved it. The artwork is really beautiful and delicate. I liked the characters of Suneo and Josee. They both have very complex personalities. They're both highly intelligent, and the writing is very thoughtful, very introspective, so that brought a lot of depth into the story as well. I gave this one 5 stars. I also read Mermaid, Scales, and the Town of Sand. This is about a little girl who lives in a town where they hold a festival every year to honor mermaids. So this little girl believes in mermaids, even though other people don't. This was just so adorable, just so cute and so sweet, and it's just so cute. You know when my voice goes up like 2 octaves, you know it was super cute. I really loved the pretty artwork and the adorable characters, and it's just like, aw, I just want to give this book a hug. I really liked this one, just so sweet and lovely. I also read Mouse House. This is kind of like, it's sort of a picture book, but it's longer, and it's about a little girl who gets a toy house that's designed for a mouse, and she has these little mouse dolls, but she wishes that they were real mice. She's just very disappointed that the mouse dolls don't scamper around like a real mouse would do. Well, down in the basement, there is a family of mice, and the littlest is always getting kicked out of the nest because there's not enough room. So she goes exploring the house looking for somewhere to sleep, and she finds the toy mouse house and decides to make herself at home. But what will happen in the morning when the little girl discovers a real mouse in her mouse house? This was just so sweet. I love stories about mice because it's just so cute and little. The color illustrations are really pretty. I like that pencil art style. This would be a great book for kids who are starting to read chapter books on their own because it's kind of right in between a picture book and a chapter book. I gave Mouse House 4 stars. I finished my goal this year to read the rest of the Redwall series with the very last book in the series, The Rogue Crew. In this book, a nasty crew of vermin pirates are headed for Redwall to plunder and kill. And the hares of Salamandrestron have seen the pirates traveling towards Redwall, so they are running up the coast in pursuit. And they call on the rogue crew of sea otters from the north coast to help them beat back the pirates. I just love all the Redwall books. It's an absolute delight. And this book has everything that I love about Redwall books. The ravenous hares and wise badgers, adorable moles and fierce shrews, and of course brave warriors ready to defend all good beasts. There's a lot of action and adventure, and of course Martin the warrior makes an appearance in somebody's dreams to warn them of the danger to come. I'm a little bit sad now that I've finished the entire Redwall series and there just aren't any more to read. If I want to read another Redwall, I'll have to go back and reread one of the old ones, so there are no more new adventures. I gave this one 4 stars. I do love Redwall. I also read The Dark is Rising, which funnily enough is the second book in the Dark is Rising series by Susan Cooper. This was a reread for me since I've already read the Dark is Rising series, I think twice, so this is my 3rd time reading through the series, and I just really, really love it. In this one, we follow Will Stanton, who is the 7th son of a 7th son, and on his 11th birthday, he discovers that he is one of a race of old ones, people who are endowed with magical abilities to help them fight back the dark. Will is trained in his new abilities, and he is sent on a quest to find the 6 signs. If he can retrieve the signs, it will help them to fight back the Dark Rider. Reading it for the 2nd or 3rd time, I'm really struck by just the complexity and the beauty of the relationships between the old ones, how they rely on one another, and how imaginative the magic is and the story. It's just so perfectly written. I'm absolutely fascinated with every aspect of this story, whether it's just Will having an ordinary day with his funny family, or whether he's off on some kind of magical quest. The scope of this story is just incredible, these battles against the light and the dark. And Will has to be very clever to circumvent the tricks and the lies of the Dark Rider. He has to protect his family at the same time that he's trying to accomplish these magical quest things. I just love this whole series, and I'm eager to continue reading the rest of them again. All the rest of the books in this video are books that I received for free from a publisher in exchange for a free and honest review. I read the graphic novel Scurry, which is about this mice colony, and they're very confused about why all the humans seem to have disappeared. And so they're living in this house, but they're running out of food, and they're trying to send out scouts to figure out, should we move the colony somewhere else? Where have all the humans gone? And a little mouse named Wix is sent out on a scouting expedition, while his friend Pict stays in the colony and cares for her ailing father. But they both start to realize that there are a lot more dangers and threats to the colony, both from without and from within. I really loved the setting and the world building and the mystery about where all the humans have gone. The artwork is really beautiful and colorful. And I really loved the characters of Wix and Pict. They both go on very different journeys, but in the end, they are determined to do whatever it takes to help their colony. However, there is a lot of violence and death and blood, and it's not like too horribly gross, but it is gross. So because of that, I gave it 4 stars. Everything else I liked. There's mice that get eaten by cats and stuff, so what you gonna do? I read the nonfiction book, Maybe You Should Give Up: 7 Ways to Get Out of Your Own Way and Take Control of Your Life. This book says that maybe it's time to just give up on fear and doubt and perfectionism and actually live your life. This book teaches you to stop reacting and instead control how you respond. And you learn how to overcome those inner obstacles of fear that are stopping you from achieving what you want to do in life. I am definitely an overthinker with a lot of anxiety, and so this book really helped to encourage me to release those things, let go of those negative thoughts and anxious stories that I play over and over in my head. I really needed the positive messages in this book. And I really like that this book goes very deep into the reasons why we have these fears and doubts, why we chase after short-term enjoyment instead of long-term benefits. When you really start to analyze your everyday decision-making, that's when you can make a change for the better. I gave this book 4 stars. I found it really helpful. I read The Secrets of Hartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden. Okay, settle in because I have a lot of things to say. First of all, I love Katie's Booktube channel, Books and Things. I really respect her, and I respect her opinion and her intelligence. And so I came into this book with really high expectations. Some of those expectations were definitely met, and I was very impressed. But there were other things in the book that I didn't like, and so I kind of have these mixed feelings about the book. In this story, Margaret takes a job as a governess at Hartwood Hall. She is perplexed by the mysterious atmosphere at the hall. However, she enjoys teaching her young student, Lewis, and her employer seems very kind. However, there are rumors in the village that the hall is haunted. Now, of course, Margaret is too wise to listen to foolish gossip, but she has noticed some strange occurrences. Figures in the dark woods, and a lighted candle in a part of the hall where no one should be. Margaret expresses her fears to Paul, the gardener, and the two of them begin a forbidden romance. Paul assures her that Hartwood Hall is safe, but Margaret has her doubts. I really loved the mystery in this book. The story structure, the creepy setting are really excellent. The plot twists at the end really surprised me too. All those mysterious occurrences are finally explained at the end. You can really tell that the whole story is very thoughtfully constructed. And I was absolutely mesmerized by the writing style. It's vivid and energetic, and the pacing is really good. Within just a few paragraphs, I was completely hooked. Katie really has a talent with words, and that is very evident in this story. And of course, I really loved the Victorian time period and learning about the historical setting. There are a lot of references to Victorian novels like Dombey and Son and Jane Eyre and The Children of the New Forest. The characters are all very complex and interesting. Every single person is hiding a secret. So it was really fascinating to follow their reactions and then make a guess. What could they be hiding? However, I did get frustrated with some of the characters, and I did not like the romance at all. Margaret has been through some terrible things in her past, and it has made her fearful, and it's really just made her selfish. She knows to do the right thing, but a lot of the time in the plot, she purposefully chooses to do what she knows is wrong, and she appears to feel little remorse afterward. I wanted to like her. I just got really frustrated with her bad decisions. She is especially selfish in her romance with Paul. She only thinks about him in the context of physical attraction. It's obvious from the beginning that she doesn't really care about him. She never really gets to know his personality or care about him personally. She only cares about what he can give her, which is a sense of security. So they have sex several times, sneaking around the estate, afraid someone will find out that they're having an affair and then they'll lose their jobs. I really hated this part of the romance because it was not based on anything real. Margaret is just running from her past, and she's trying to make herself feel better, and so she uses Paul. The thing is, I think I'm so disappointed in some of the characters because the writing really made me care about the characters. I really wanted to like Margaret. If the writing had been bad, then I wouldn't care. But the writing is so powerful. It makes you want to love those characters, even when they are behaving really really badly. There is a little bit of profanity in this book, but it's only 3 or 4 times, so it didn't bother me too much. There are 3 gay and lesbian characters in the book. That was an unexpected element for a novel that's set in Victorian times. So the book has a much more modern feeling that I hadn't expected. Overall, I loved the writing style. I loved the mystery plot. However, I disliked many of the characters and I really hated the romance. Although I think you're kind of supposed to hate the romance. You're not really supposed to want them to be together. It's just such a mixture of things that I enjoyed and things that I didn't like. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I also read Elf Dog and Owlhead. In this story, Clay is tired of being stuck at home during the pandemic, so he goes out to explore the woods behind his home. And he encounters an elf hound, a magical dog who has been separated from the pack during an elven hunt. The elves have all gone back underground to their magic kingdom, but the elf hound Elfinor is left behind in the world above ground. The elf dog leads Clay through secret paths in the forest to magical realms, and Clay sees a community of owl-headed people and actually befriends one of them. Clay is dealing with mysterious lands and dangerous magical folk, and so he is sure to get into trouble on his adventures. I loved this story so much. It is a perfect blend of ordinary everyday life and then these magical things that start happening. The writing is really excellent. It just draws you into this magical world. And you never know what kind of strange creature or place is going to appear in the woods. Or you might find a magical wishing lake, or a crumbling ancient tower, or an old stone giant from beyond the sands of time. I loved all the characters. We get to know Clay and his family, and they're all dealing with the pandemic in different ways. They're all kind of struggling, and then this magic hound comes bounding into their lives full of magic and adventure. I gave this book 5 stars. It is just so imaginative and fun. I also read The Magician's Elephant, and halfway through realized, wait a minute, I've read this before. So Peter asks a fortune teller whether or not his sister is still alive and how he can find her. And the fortune teller tells him, follow the elephant, but there is no elephant. But then later, a magician is conjuring up a bouquet of lilies when he accidentally conjures up an elephant. The strange appearance of the elephant sets in motion events that eventually lead Peter to his missing sister. The story is very atmospheric, but there's not a lot that actually happens. I got kind of bored with the plot. And the author has this artistic style of writing that makes the prose seem more like poetry in a way, but a lot of the time it doesn't quite make sense. I just feel sort of confused because it's weird and I don't really relate to any of the characters. The characters are just kind of confusing. I'm like, why are you like that? Why are you saying what you're saying? And I don't get you, character. Despite all that, I kind of enjoyed this book in a weird sort of way. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I just don't know if it's really my cup of tea. I also read the 5th book in the Myrtle Hardcastle series, Myrtle Means an Opportunity. In this one, Myrtle and her governess go up to Scotland, and they uncover a string of murders during a treasure hunt on a haunted Scottish estate. I love every single book in the Myrtle series. Every book has gotten 5 stars, and this one got 5 stars too. One of the things that has made me fall in love with this series is the incredible character development for Myrtle. In every book, she is growing and changing, and her relationships with her family are changing. And in every book, I've been very pleased with the complexity of the mystery. All those red herrings and clues, and then it all comes together so satisfyingly in the end. The writing really draws you in. It just gets you hooked emotionally to every character, and it is so funny. I love the funny writing style. I just adore every single book in this series. 5 stars forever. And those are the books that I read in August. Please leave me a comment and let me know what was one of your favorite books that you read in August. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.